So Darren Jones, the Shadow Chief Secretary to the Treasury, went on Victoria Derbyshire, and my word, it was a car crash.
30% of all children in the UK are in poverty. And you cite those figures in your manifesto. But then there's no plan. What is the point of a Labour manifesto without a plan to combat child poverty?
Well, look, child poverty is a tragedy for the country, but also for every child and every family who's affected. And I know how difficult that is, having grown up in those circumstances.
So you think there'd be a plan in your manifesto?
That's why we set out in our manifesto today. So that's why we've set out in our manifesto today a number of initial measures which we know have a direct impact on family finances. For example, free breakfast clubs at school, an enhanced offer on childcare for parents who want to be able to get to work.
So, and a commitment, right? So you're going to make them wait. You're going to make these kids in poverty wait for your economic growth, which may not come.
No. So the free breakfast clubs, the ban on Section 21 evictions, the measures we've announced in our first 6 steps will be immediately implemented if Labour wins the election on July the 4th, and that we want to deal with the structural issues this country is facing so that people can feel the benefit of change.
Children in families, 3 or more children, now make up a majority of the total number of children in poverty. They say abolishing the 2-child benefit limit would take 490,000 children out of poverty. So that is an 11% reduction in child poverty overnight. You even have Suella Braverman calling for the cap to be abolished. And Nigel Farage, it would seem, on the ITV debate tonight. Yet you, Labour, won't promise to do that.
Well, that's because the difference between the Conservatives and Reform and Labour is that our policies are fully funded and fully costed. That has to be what people expect from any party trying to form the government at this election. And look, would I like the economy to be in a better position? Of course I would. Would I like a Labour government to be coming into a country where we've got plenty of tax revenues to be able to spend on all the things that we would like to do as the Labour movement? Of course I would. But the fact of the matter is that we will inherit the worst financial situation that any party has inherited since the Second World War. I think people at home recognise the fact that we can't just click our finger and change that immediately on day one. But our plan for change today and our manifesto sets out how we're going to do that.
Yeah, I'm sure voters do recognise that. And they may also recognise that you are making a choice. You could fully fund and fully cost lifting the 2-child benefit cap, and you are making the choice not to do that. That's right, isn't it?
Well, these are trade-offs. We've made the commitment not to increase tax.
Now, I quite like Victoria Derbyshire. She's definitely one of the best mainstream media journalists we have, and she absolutely grilled Jones. Now, we've heard the whole time since they said they wouldn't commit to scrapping the cap. Their excuse is, we've got no money, How are we going to fund it? Well, you could just fund it. I mean, in their manifesto, there are several commitments they make with funding. Why not do the bare minimum and include this too? Now, Victoria is spot on. They've chosen not to do it. It's a political choice. In their manifesto, they pledge to keep corporation tax as it is. Why not increase it and help 500,000 kids who are in poverty? It's disgusting. Jones also said that Labour wants to deal with these structural issues. No, they don't. I mean, their entire shtick is not doing that, but barely, and I mean barely, tinkering around the edges. Their position is so untenable that even Nigel Farage has outflanked them to the left. And his response to that was, well, the difference between us and the Tories and Reform, we have costed our plans. We are talking about 500,000 kids in poverty, and Labour have chosen to not help them. And he responds like a Tory by saying, well, we fund our policies. It's sick. It's absolutely sick. It shows once again how Starmer is politically stupid. It's a very easy policy to do. Victoria literally said it can be done overnight. It wouldn't crush your poll leads, yet he would rather talk about wealth creation, keeping corporation tax down or refuse a wealth tax instead of helping poor people. You have to understand, when people like Darren Jones, Rachel Reeves or Keir Starmer say, oh, we would love to do all these policies, but the Tories left the economy in such a bad way, we can't. What they mean is we don't want to do these policies. If they did, they would have worked out a way to fund it. The money is there, they just don't care. And right at the end of that exchange, one of the most disgusting lines I've ever heard from Labour this entire general election is when Victoria said, this is a political choice and you are refusing to do it. And Jones responded by saying, well, these are trade-offs. We don't want to increase taxes. So they would rather keep kids in poverty. It's absolutely abhorrent. There is so much wealth out there to tax. I mean, I already mentioned a wealth tax. You could raise corporation tax. Or Labour could have kept one of Starmer's leadership pledges to increase income tax on the top 5% of earners. Many people in that group would probably be happy to pay a little bit more to reduce child poverty. Now, this following clip is a comparison between 2010 and today, once again featuring Darren Jones and also George Osborne, and it just sums up the entire political landscape perfectly.
I've never been afraid to level with people about the hard truths.
Lots of things that a Labour Party would like to do coming into government, of course we would.
Government faced the worst economic inheritance in modern history.
They've maxed out the country's credit card and they've spent all the money.
A huge debt that built up in our society over the last decade.
Debt is higher than it has been since the Second World War.
The interest we're paying on our debt, the interest alone, not the debt itself, just the interest we're paying on that debt, is predicted to be around £70 billion.
The interest payments are now over £100 billion a year in the last financial year.
We have to live within our means.
We have to deal with the books as we inherit them from the Conservatives.
This is a Cameronite Labour Party. Now, I don't think that Labour would be as aggressive on austerity, where 330,000 people died due to Osborne's cuts. But it won't be a fundamental change. I mean, they've already made their excuses for it. This is all economic illiteracy. When Cameron came to power in 2010, the rhetoric was, oh, we're in so much debt, we need to cut spending, we'll fix the finances. After 14 years, debt has exploded, not accounting for the pandemic. The Tories never ran a single budget surplus. Why is that? Because the economy doesn't work in the way the Tories or Labour are framing it. After 14 years of chronic underfunding, the last thing a government should be doing is tightening its belts. Nothing is working. Public services are destroyed. The immediate thing to do, as a matter of emergency, is a huge cash injection to get things running again. We are in a vicious cycle. Austerity causes economic calamity, and the response from our politicians is more austerity to fix the problems austerity caused. It's a circus act in which both Labour and the Tories are in, but the outcome is very real. More poverty, more services getting worse, and the continuation of managed decline. Labour have the power and resources to turn things around, to lift 500,000 children out of poverty, but they choose not to. Now, some of you may have seen that Turn Left have been doing live shows called Normal Island. We go live every Monday and Saturday at 7:30 p.m. and Thursdays at 7 p.m. Each show we have a special guest to cover the latest general election stories. But we need your help. Everything here at Turn Left is still voluntary and work around our paid jobs. The goal is to have enough income to rent a studio and one day to start paying ourselves. Now, you can help us get there by supporting Turn Left on Patreon for £3 or £5 per month at patreon.com/Turn Left Media. Now, the channel has grown significantly with exclusive interviews, including Jeremy Corbyn and political party leaders. I want to see Turn Left continue to grow as an independent socialist media. Please give this video a like and share it widely. I'd also like to thank existing subscribers, members, and patrons. Thank you, and see you next time.